Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is when you're watching this video. Hello and welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome. If you're a new subscriber, I hope you find more content that you like and that tutorials of wearables that you would like to make. Today is a little bit different because I wrote a pattern, Count My Blessings shawl, which is this one. I made this one in blue and I wear it as a scarf like this. And I'm following along the pattern, so I will be referring to the pattern, which is not normally what I do. We are going to do rows 1 to 10, which I call set up rows, and then rows 11 to 19 we do 4 times, and then the border, we jump straight into the border. Now this is the shawl we are going to make. Beautiful. I love the ombre, and as you work with it, you know, I will put in a photograph as well, maybe at the end or somewhere, where you can wear this as a little poncho. You wear it around you and you use these bobbles. You don't need a shawl pin. You use the bobbles and you just put it into holes and it keeps it. So you don't need a shawl pin, which is, I think, very nifty. And you can wear it like that. I do find that if you have more curves, that works better, because my daughter is slim girl and it doesn't really work so well for her. So for those of us with more curves, good to you, because this technique of using the bobbles as a shawl pin, just putting it into some of the holes to keep it up as a little poncho, works perfect. What else did I want to tell you before we start? It's an easy pattern. You just need to do chains, single crochets, double crochets. That's all you need to do. I used 4 stitch markers the entire pattern, and I didn't use it when I made the first one or the second one. It's only when I started to think that I must do a tutorial and explain that it would be better to use stitch markers if I'm explaining it to someone. And do not rush. Make sure your count is right. I give the count stitch at the end of every row so that you can check that you're still on par, and that, you know, if you're 1 stitch out, I also explain to you how to fudge if you've just missed 1 stitch. But if you're out quite a few stitches, then please check, because something is wrong. Yes, otherwise I think let's get going, and I hope you enjoy this. If you like this tutorial, give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment and I would really appreciate that. If you have any problems with that, email me. You know, problems with the pattern, email me and I will try and explain. Or of course you can leave it in the comments as well. I will also get it per email and respond. So let's get going and make this poncho. Not poncho, shawl. Let's make the shawl. For this tutorial, I will use a pair of scissors, a few stitch markers, which is optional, wool needle, a 4mm hook, and I used 1 cake of this rainbow. It is a cotton acrylic mix, 50-50, 150 grams, 600 meters, and as I said, my 4mm hook is what I'll be using. So let's get going. This is what the yarn looks like. It's 4 tiny strands. That's how it comes out of the ball cake, and we're just going to start, that's the beginning end, and we're going to make a slip knot. There we go. Chain 4, as the pattern says. That 1, 2, 3, and 4. That first chain will be my center. Those 3 chains there is a double crochet. So yarn over and work 5 double crochets in that first chain that I made. So there we go, yarn over, hook through there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. First double crochet made, yarn over through that first chain again, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, there we go, fetch some yarn on that side, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we have 1, 2, 3 double crochets and our chain 3. There we go. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again through the center stitch, that first chain that we made, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's count. That's our first chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets, and that counts as 6 double crochets. Then we turn the work. You can chain 1 and turn, or turn and chain 1. So we proceed to row 2. I'm going to chain 1 and then I'm going to turn my work in the tutorial, although the pattern reads that I must turn my work and then chain 1. Now, from now on, all the rows start with that chain 1 and 2 double crochets in my first stitch. So there's my first double crochet and my second double crochet in the same space. Like that. So chain 1, 2 double crochets in the first stitch. Now we're going to work 2 double crochets in the next stitch. 1 and 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and in the next stitch 2 double crochets. So there we go, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Now we go. Another 2 double crochets, and then in the last stitch we must make the row ends with work 2 double crochets in the last stitch, because you're going to work 2 double crochets in each stitch until 1 stitch remains, and in that last stitch you're going to, I am just going to go through that like that, yarn over and work 2 double crochets. Always work 2 double crochets in the last stitch. And then turn the work. So this is row 2 done. If you want to count, you need to have 12. So there's your 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. And remember that chain 1 does not count. There's your 12. That is the end of row 2. As I say, the pattern reads turn your work and then chain 1, but I prefer to chain 1, turn my work, and then work 2 double crochets in the first stitch of row 3. Just make sure you've got all the strands on the hook, because they do tend to split, but I love working with this yarn. There you go, start of row 3, and we have chain 1, 2 double crochets in the first stitch. Now we're going to work 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and in the next one 2 double crochets. And the way I remember to do this is how I count. Second double crochet. So I count 1, 2, and 3. So in the next stitch 1 double crochet, in the next stitch 2 and 3, so 2 double crochets in the next, and you're going to continue until you get to the last stitch, until 1 stitch remains. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, and wherever I say 2 and 3, I put them in the same stitch. So that's what we're doing. 1 double crochet, 2 and 3 in the same, 1 double crochet, 2 and 3 in the same, 1 double crochet, 2 and 3 in the same. Continue until 1 stitch remains. So I'm going to work there is my second last stitch, and I'm working 2 double crochets in that stitch, 1 and 2, and in my last stitch, as always, work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Your stitch count should be 19 stitches if you're counting. Now if you're counting, remember you don't count the chain 1, but you know there is the stitch. So if you want to count, look for the bottom of the stitches. Instead of being confused whether I need to count that or not, look at the bottom there. If that's the first stitch, you know you work 2 double crochets there. So you count 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and in the last one, 18 and 19. So there's your 19 stitches of row 3. We are going to continue to row 4. Now we start with row 4, chain 1. I turn my work and I do work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 double crochet and a second double crochet. There we go. Now 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and I call it 1, a double crochet in the next stitch, and I call that 2, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and I call that 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 is in the same stitch there. We're going to work 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that's how you're going to work it until 3 stitches remain. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, a second double crochet, and the third and fourth double crochet in the same stitch. So number 3 and 4 in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Continue until 3 stitches remain. I've continued until 3 stitches remain, and then I work 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and remember, in our last stitch, always 2 double crochets. Just get that V over the hook like that. 2 double crochets in that last stitch. And we should have 26 stitches in total if you are counting. So this is how we've done it. You count, look at the bottom of the stitch, and you count 2 double crochets, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8 and 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 and 22, 23, 24, 25 and 26 in the last. There you go. We are going on to row 5. Row 5, I am going to chain 1, turn my work, and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch. 1 and 2. Now I'm going to chain 1, yarn over. I'm going to skip the next stitch and work a double crochet in that stitch. There we go. Work a double crochet and chain 1, skip the next stitch, work a double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, yarn over, skip the stitch, in the next stitch work a double crochet. So continue until 1 stitch remains. You're going to chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet. Just continue like that. So just to be transparent with you, you can see how this is sort of like it wants to curl in my hands. But if I lay it down like this, all I need to do is just do that, and it is perfectly straight. Okay, so we have repeated the pattern. Chain 1, skip next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch until 1 stitch remains. Now 1 stitch remains. And what do we do in the last stitch? We do 2 double crochets. So we're going to work 2 double crochets in that last stitch. 1 and 2 double crochets in that last stitch, and the total stitches here should be 28. You can see how this row ends, and I think for the last time probably I will tell you, if you count, you look at the bottom of the stitch, because it can be confusing if you look at the top to think, is that a double crochet or isn't it? Do I see 3? Do I not? No. You know you made 1 chain and you made 2 double crochets. So you just count at the bottom 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochet, chain 1, and you count them. And you, at the end, until 1 last stitch remain, there you end it with a double crochet, and then you do 2 double crochets in the last stitch. My apologies. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are going on to row 6. We continue with row 6. I have done a chain 1. Now I do my 2 double crochets in the first stitch. There we go. And I'm going to make a double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. That's my rhythm. So 1 double crochet in the next stitch, which is the first double crochet that I'm counting. 1, 2, and you can just go through there or through the stitch. It all depends on your preference. 3, 4. So I've worked 4 double crochets, 1 in the top of each stitch. In the next stitch I work 2 double crochets. So now the next stitch falls there, so I will just work 2 double crochets. So work 4. That's the rhythm that, and this will happen. Just pull it so that it goes straight. If the yarn does this, just pull it to get rid of. I just pull it like this to get rid of any loops. It might happen, but it doesn't often happen. Okay, so you're going to continue like this. You're going to work 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, 1 in each of the next stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, 5 and 6. So you, with 5 and 6, you work 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. So let's just do that one more time. 1 double crochet, 2, 2, and 3, and 4, and then in the next stitch you work 5 and 6, 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 in the same stitch. Continue until 2 stitches remain. Now you're going to work 1 double crochet in that stitch, in the next stitch, and then you're going to work in the last stitch 2 double crochets. Let me just get the V beautifully and neat. 1 and 2 and we have 35 stitches in total at the end of row 6 if you wanted to count that. We continue with row 7, and I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and I'm going to work 2 double crochets in the first stitch like we always do, 1 and 2, work 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and work 2 double crochet in the stitch thereafter. So 1 double crochet in this stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Let's do that. Work 1 double crochet. In the next stitch we work 2 double crochets. And there's our second double crochet in the same stitch. Let me just sort out my yarn. We continue. Now you're going to, the pattern for this row is work 1 double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in the 6th stitch we work 2 double crochets. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So 1 double crochet, the second double crochet, the third double crochet, the fourth double crochet, the fifth double crochet, and number 6 and 7 is in the same stitch. So 6 and 7. And you're going to repeat this, working 5 double crochets and then 6 and 7 in the same stitch. Or you can call it an increase. Work 5 double crochets and then an increase, which means you work 2 double crochets in one stitch. If you want to think about it like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase. Continue like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase until 2 stitches remain, and then I meet up with you. So I've worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets, 1 in each, and then an increase, 6 and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 until 2 stitches remain. Then you work 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and in our last stitch, as usual, we work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And if you're going to count the stitches, you need to have 43 stitches at the end of row 7, and then we go on to row 8. We're going on to row 8. I'm going to chain 1 and then turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 double crochet and a second double crochet. In the next stitch, I'm going to work 1 double crochet, then I'm going to chain 1 and skip the next stitch and work a double crochet. chain 1, yarn over, skip the next stitch, work a double crochet in the next, chain 1, yarn over, skip the next stitch, and in the next work a double crochet like that. And you're going to continue like that until 1 stitch remains. So this is how I've worked it until 1 stitch remains. Now you chain 1, adding another stitch, and then you work 2 double crochets into the last stitch. And if you're going to count this, it should come up to 46 stitches in this row, just like that. There you go. So that's how we end it. We end it with, on the second last stitch we had a double crochet, chain 1, and in the last stitch 2 double crochets. Count and you should have 46 stitches, and then we go on to row 9. I'm starting row 9 with a chain 1, turn my work, and I'm going to work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, there we go, work 1 double crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. So let's do that. There's our first stitch, 1, 2, because we're working through the chain of the previous row, 3, 4 double crochets, 5, 'sometimes the yarn splits, 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just making sure, 6, and 7. In the next stitch we are going to work an increase, which is 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Now that happens to be a chain stitch. It could have been on top of the double crochet, it doesn't matter. So for me, I prefer to go around the chain 1 and just work 2 stitches at that spot. So you're going to continue like this and work 1 double crochet in each of the next 7 stitches, and then work 2 double crochets or an increase in stitch number 8. Continue with this pattern another 4 times until 5 stitches remain, and I will see you then. So we have worked 1 double crochet in each of the 7 stitches, and then we worked an increase, and we had to repeat that another 4 times all along, and then you repeat until 5 stitches remain. And then what you do is, there's your 5 stitches. We are going to work 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 double crochets in our last stitch, as we usually do. 2 double crochets in our last stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, 1 in each. In the last stitch we work 2 double crochets, and if you're going to count the stitches in this row 9, it should be 53. So you can go ahead and count that if you like. We're just going to push this out of the way for now. Then we are going to continue to row 10. Yay! So we're going to continue to row 10 with a chain 1, and I'm turning my work and working 2 double crochets in the beginning of this row. So it has been real easy peasy. Nothing difficult. Double crochets, chains, you know how to do that. So in row 10 we are going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. So there we go. 1, 2, 3 double crochets and a 4th double crochet, a 5th double crochet, and a 6th double crochet, and a 7th, there you go, 7th double crochet. Then we are going to do 8 and 9 in the same stitch, or you can call it an increase in the next. So 8 and 9 in the same stitch. And you're going to do that another 5 times until 4 stitches remain. So work 1 double crochet in each of the next 7 stitches, and then an increase, 2 double crochets in the same stitch for another 5 times until 4 stitches remain, and then I see you there. So I've worked 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets, increase, another 5 times until 4 stitches remain. There's my 4 stitches. Now you're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and in the last one we're going to work 2 double crochets as usual. So let's go for it. Hey, don't split on me. 1, and in the next one 2, in the next one 3 double crochets, and in the last one we are going to work 2 double crochets. And if you want to count the stitches in this row, it should tally up to 61 stitches. 61. The first 10 rows that we've completed now, I call these setup rows. Now we're going to start with our pattern repetition, which is basically row 11 to 19. And this is the start of row 11. And I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, like we've done up to now. And sometimes I must just go slow because it needs to be neat. Now I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2 chains, and I'm going to skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, and in the third one I'm going to work a double crochet. chain 2, 1, 2 chains, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and in the third one I work a double crochet. Now you're just going to continue with this pattern until 3 stitches remain. So I have continued with the pattern until 3 stitches remain. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to skip 2, and in the last stitch I am going to work 2 double crochets. Don't split on me. Let me just do that last one again, because the yarn split on me and I don't like it splitting. So as per usual, in the last stitch we do 2 double crochets. So we continued the pattern until 3 stitches remained, made 2 chains and 2 double crochets in the last stitch, and if you want to count this row 11, it will be 63 stitches. We are continuing to row 12. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, as we always do. I must just be careful that the yarn doesn't split. Now, the reason why I have stitch markers is because what you can do is I must work 1 double crochet in each of the next 15 stitches. Now I can count 15, or I can count 15 as I go, or I can count 15, put in a stitch marker where my increased stitch is, and then count again and put, so you can do it that way if you want to. So let's just demonstrate that in this row. Row 12 says work 1 double crochet in each of the next 15 stitches, and then 2 double crochets in the next. So let's do this. 15 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Which means this stitch is my next increase. In this stitch I must do 2 double crochet in the same stitch. So when I get to the stitch marker, I will simply work 2 double crochets in that stitch. Then it says work 1 double crochet in each of the next 10 stitches, and then 2 double crochets, an increase. So now you can go ahead and do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which means in that one chain I need to work an increase, and I can put a stitch marker there if I want to. So especially as the shawl grows, this is what you can start doing, so that you don't have to count as much. I didn't do it at this stage yet, because to count 10 stitches, that goes really quick. To count 15 goes really quick. But just to show you, once the rows get very long, you don't have to sit and count and count and count. You just go up to the stitch where your increase should be, put the stitch marker in, and know that when you get to that stitch, you just work 2 double crochets in that stitch, which is your increase stitch. And then you count again how many stitches and put the stitch marker exactly in the increase stitch. Whether that increase stitch is a chain stitch or on the top of a double crochet, it does not matter. So let's just go back to the beginning of row 12. So that was just a little explanation. And what does it say? Work 1 double crochet in each of the next 15 stitches. So there we go. 1, and you can go under or through. 2, 3, 4, and here's an example. You can go through the chain, 5, 6, 7, or you can go, you know that is a 2 chain space, so you can just put through 2 double crochets around those 2 chains. Either way, it doesn't matter. All we need is the stitches where they need to be. There we go. Let me just sort out my yarn. So I've worked 15. There's my first 2 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 double crochets in each of these 15 double crochets. And it says in the next stitch, which I marked with a stitch marker, which I can now take out, I am going to work 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And that is 1, and that is 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And now this, from here onwards, is what you should repeat. You've just worked 2 double crochets in this stitch, and then you're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 10. And you're going to repeat that until 2 stitches remain. So an increase, and then you work 10 stitches, increase, 10 stitches, increase, until 2 stitches remain. So let's just do that one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I've worked 10 double crochets. So there's my increase. So that's what you must repeat. An increase and 10 double crochets. An increase and 10 double crochets until 2 stitches remain, which means in this stitch that I've marked is my next increase. I see you at the end of this row. So in row 12 we worked the 2 double crochets in the first stitch, then we worked 15 double crochets in the next 15 stitches. We made an increase and worked 1 times 10 double crochet stitches, and that's what we did. Increase 10 double crochets, increase 10 double crochets until 2 stitches remain, and this is what we're going to do with the 2 stitches that remain. As you can see there, I did on top of that double crochet a double crochet. There were 2 chains. I worked that 1 double crochet on top of the 1 chain, and I ended with my increase stitch, in that one chain, 2 stitches remain, work 1 double crochet in that stitch, in the next stitch, and in the last stitch, as always, we work 2 double crochets. And if you want to count the stitches in row 12, it should be 70, 70. Beautiful, like that. And then we continue to row 13. Row 13, we chain 1 and I turn my work and I work 2 double crochets in the first stitch as per our pattern. Then what we're going to do is work 1 double crochet in each of the next 10 stitches and then work an increase. So 1, and in the next one, second stitch, 2, third stitch, 3 double crochets, in the next stitch, my 4th double crochet, next stitch, my 5th double crochet, in the next stitch, my 6th double crochet, 7th double crochet, 8th double crochet, 9th double crochet, and in the 10th stitch a double crochet. Let's just quickly count. There's our first stitch with our 2 double crochets, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what we're going to repeat in this row is work 10 double crochets and then an increase. In the next stitch, work 2 double crochets, which is an increase. So work 10 double crochets and an increase, 10 double crochets and an increase, and repeat that until 3 stitches remain. So I've continued working 10 double crochets, increase, 10 double crochets, increase, until 3 stitches remain. And with that 3 stitches remain, what do we do? 1 double crochet in the next stitch and 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and in the last stitch we work 2 double crochets. Let me just get that V, my hook under the V without it splitting like that. Yes, and a double crochet and a second double crochet in the last stitch, as we always do. That is the end of row 13, and if you're going to count this, it will be 78 stitches. I'll see you at row 14. We continue with row 14, so I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch. 1 and 2, and I'm working slow because you know that my yarn splits. Let me just sort out my yarn. Okay, so now it's going to get interesting. So we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, chain 2, skip 2 stitches and make a single crochet. Just like that. Chain 2, 1, 2, and skip 2 stitches and in the next stitch work 2 double crochets in the same stitch. We're going to chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and in the third stitch we're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, 1 and 2, skip 1, skip 2, in the third one we are going to make 2 double crochets. Chain 2, skip 2, 1 and 2, and in the third one make a single crochet. And you're going to continue like that until 5 stitches remain. So the pattern that I've repeated here was the chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, double crochets, 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So from here to here, that is what you continue to repeat, which means that you will end with 2 double crochets. And that is exactly what has happened. I have repeated until I've done my last chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochets, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches that remain. Now I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2. I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and in the next one, the third one, I'm going to do a single crochet. I'm going to skip 2 stitches. No, I'm not going to skip 2 stitches. I'm going to chain 2, but I've only got 1 stitch to skip, which is what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to work 2 double crochets in the last stitch. 1 and 2. Do not split on me. There we go. Just put it through ever so gently. But it doesn't want to go through gently. Let's do that. There we go. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches that remained. We did 2 chains, skip 2 in the third one, do a single crochet. Then we did a chain 2, but we didn't skip 2, we skipped only 1. And then in the last stitch we worked 2 double crochets, and that is the end of row 14. And if you count your stitches for this row, it should be 93. I just want to show you a little tip on how I count, because there is a lot of counting. Now, if I'm going to count 93 stitches in row 14, I'm going to do it this way. There is 2 double crochets, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is 7. Now this 7 is repeated, because there's your little 7 and there's the next 7. So I'm going to count how many times I get this 7. So if you get 10, it means 10 times 7 is 70 stitches. And then you just count the few that is left over. Row 15 is getting even more interesting. So chain 1 and I turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, as we've been doing up to now. 2 double crochets. There we go. Now we are going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are going to jump to the next, what I call 2 double crochet cluster. But it's not really a cluster, it's just those 2 stitches. That's not really a V stitch, because a V stitch will have a chain 1 in the middle, and we do not have a chain 1 in the middle. So, but that is the 2 double crochet cluster. We're going to jump there, and we're going to go in between those 2 stitches, and we are going to work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3 double crochets in the same spot. We are going to chain another 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are going to jump to the next 2 double crochet cluster, and we are going to work between those 2 double crochets 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. So now you're going to continue this until your last 2 double crochet cluster remains. And then I'm going to show you what to do. So you're going to continue with chain 4 in between those 2 posts of the 2 double crochets in the previous round. Your row, you're going to put 3 double crochets. So you have repeated the chain 4 and work 3 double crochets in between the 2 posts of the 2 double crochet cluster of the previous row. Chain 4, work 3 double crochets there in between the 2 double crochets. Chain 4, work 3 double crochets until there's only 1 double crochet cluster left. Now what to do? So we are going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we are going to work 2 double crochets in that first, there's 2 double crochets there. In the first double crochet we work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And then there is only 1 stitch remaining, our last stitch, and we do what we always do, and that is to work 2 double crochets in the last stitch. So that is what that is going to look like right there. 2 double chain 4, 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then you end with your 2 double crochets in the last stitch as usual. This is the end of row 15. If you want to count it, it should be 94 stitches. Row 16. So chain 1 and turn my work, and I'm going to work 2 double crochets in the first stitch as we always do, carefully, because you know this yarn that I'm working with does split. And then we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 20 stitches, increase. 20 stitches, increase. Let's do that once. 1 double crochet, 2 and 3 double crochets. You can now go, just put 4 double crochets here in this 4 chain space, or work through each chain like that. 1, 2, 3 double crochets, 4 double crochets. It absolutely just depends on your preference. It can look like that if you go through the 4 chains. Let's just have a look here. 1, so a double crochet in each stitch as it presents itself for the next 20 stitches. Here's another 4 chain space, and you can just work 4 stitches where the 4 chains are. That is entirely up to you. 3 and 4. You see, it will look slightly different, but in the big picture it really won't. So let's just count. There's our first 2 double crochets. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 double crochet, 16 double crochet, and 17 double crochets, 18, 16, 17, 18. Wait, I'm a little bit confused. Let me just count again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So there's my 20 double crochets that I have to work, and then an increase. So it's 20 double crochets and then an increase. Now you can see the increase falls on the 4th chain. So in that 4th chain, I'm going to work 2 double crochets. So it doesn't matter where my increase falls. You just see that you work 2 double crochets in that stitch, wherever it falls. And it happens to fall just before my 3 double crochets and in the 4th chain. Now you're going to repeat that. 20 double crochets, increase. 20 double crochets, increase, until 9 stitches remain. So the pattern that had to be repeated was 20 double crochets and then an increase. 20 double crochets and an increase. So you have to end on an increase if you're ending the pattern. And then it says until 9 stitches remain. So in those 9 stitches, we are going to work in the next 8 stitches. There's your 3 plus 4 is 7, 8, 9. So in this next 8 stitches, we are working 8 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've worked 8 double crochets, and then 1 stitch remains. That's the last stitch, and we are going to work a double crochet in the last stitch. Come on, it wants to split. Do not split. 2 double crochets in the last stitch. There we go. And if you want to count this row number 16, it should be 100 stitches. We are making progress with this yarn on row 16, but you can see there's a lot of this color left still before we get to change over to the green. So if you want to count this, 100 stitches, and I see you at the start of row 17. We're starting with row 17, and I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch. There we go. Now our little pattern is going to be chain 1, skip 1, and work a double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, and work a double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the next stitch. So continue doing that until 1 stitch remains. So we're coming to the end of row 17. The pattern we had to repeat was chain 1, skip 1, a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, a double crochet. So we ended with a double crochet, and there was 1 stitch left, our last stitch. And you know what we do with the last stitch? We work 2 double crochets in the last stitch. So there we go. This is the end of row 17, and if you wanted to go ahead and count these stitches, it should come to 102 stitches at the end of row 17. So I'll see you at row 18 again. So we start with row 18, and I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and then work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, as we've done before and before and before. Then we are going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 15 stitches. So it's 1 and 2, just as the stitch presents itself. 3, wait, yarn over, and it's 4. Where it's a chain 1 space, you can just go around it, no problem. Let me just sort out my yarn here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12 double crochets, 13 double crochets, 14 double crochets, 15 double crochets, and then we are working an increase. In the next stitch, now that it could have been on a chain one or on top of a double crochet, doesn't matter. The increase is 2 double crochets in the same stitch. 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So this is what you're going to repeat. You're going to work 15 double crochets and an increase. 15 double crochets and an increase until 5 stitches remain. There we go. So I've done 15 double crochets, an increase, 15 double crochets, and let's see, there's an increase. You can see it's 2 double crochets in the same stitch, 15 double crochets, and it ends with an increase, and there's 5 stitches that remains. So I'm going to work in each of the 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches ahead of us. I'm going to work 1 double crochet. So it's 1 double crochet, 2, 3, and 4, and then in the last stitch we do 2 double crochets as we've been doing all along. Always 2 double crochets in the last stitch, like that. And if you want to count this row 18, it should amount to 110 stitches. See, our pattern is coming along beautifully. So I am starting with row 19, chain 1, and I'm going to turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch as we've been doing all along. Work 1 double crochet in each of the next 20 stitches. So it is 1, 2, 3 double crochets, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 double crochets, 1 double crochet in each of the stitches as it presents, and then I do an increase. And as you know, that is 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So this pattern that we're going to do is 20 double crochets and then an increase, 20 double crochets and then an increase until 4 stitches remain. So we've repeated 20 double crochets, increase, 20 double crochets, increase until 4 stitches remain. Now we are going to work 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and in the last stitch 2 double crochets. So it is 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and in the last stitch we work our 2 double crochets. And can you believe, do you see this? We're starting on our green. Oh yes. 1 and 2. So we will have a gradual color change. So this is row 19, the end of row 19. If you want to go ahead and count this, it should be 117 stitches. Now I need to mention, let me just put my hook aside, that let's just see if we can lie it down like this or hold it up like this. Here in these windows is where row 11 starts. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. That is what we are going to repeat. And it's another 3 repeats. 4 repeats in total. That is our pattern. Beautiful. It's just the stitch count or stitch increases will differ as our semicircle shawl grows to keep the shape of a perfect semicircle. So if you want to count the stitches of row 19, it's 117, and I will see you at row 20. We're going to start row 20, and I am making a chain 1, turning my work and working 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and absolutely loving the color change. Now we are going to do our little pattern, which will be chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and in the third one have a double crochet, and that's it. Repeat chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and there we go. Make a double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, and work a double crochet in the next one to form our little windows. Now you continue like that until 2 stitches remain. So the pattern we repeated was to chain 2, skip 2 stitches, double crochet, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, double crochet, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, double crochet until 2 stitches remain. Now we are going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and skip 1 because there is only 1 to skip, and then we are going to work 2 double crochets in the last stitch like that, 1 and 2. Now this is the end of row 20. If you want to go ahead and count the stitches in row 20, it will be 120 stitches. And I will see you at row 21. So chain 1, and we are going to start with row 21. I'm turning my work and working 2 double crochets in the first stitch as we always do. And for this row, it says work 1 double crochet in each of the next 30 stitches. So I start there working in the second stitch, 1, there's a 2 chain space, so I can work 2 stitches just into the space or through each individual chain. It does not matter as long as there is 2 double crochets in the 2 chain space, and then a double crochet on top of a double crochet. Or you can, there's 2 chains. If I slightly turn it, I can see the V better, and then I just work into that chain. That's another option. It doesn't matter as long as there is 1 double crochet on top of every stitch as it presents itself for the next 30 stitches, like that. So just continue and work 1 double crochet on every double crochet for the first, well, not the first, after your double crochet, 2 double crochets in the first stitch, we work 30 double crochets. So I have worked 2 double crochets in the first chain, then I've worked 30 double crochets in each of the next 30 stitches, and then I have made an increase. So this is stitch 31, one would say. After 30 double crochets, work an increase. Now you're going to work in the next 20 stitches a double crochet and then an increase. 20 double crochets, an increase. 20 double crochets, an increase. That's how you're going to continue. So you're going to do that 3 times. 20 double crochets, increase for 3 times. And then I see you continue until 1 stitch remains. I'm going to put a stitch marker there where I've worked my increase, and then I'm going to work my 20 double crochets, and when I do an increase I will mark it with another stitch marker, and I only have to do the 20 double crochets increase 3 times in total. So I've worked 20 double crochets and I've made an increase, and I am just marking my increase by putting a stitch marker on top, and that will help with counting. That's the only reason why I do it. So it will, you know, so that you don't have so many stitches to count. So this is how row 21 is going to play out. We started with working 30 double crochets and an increase, and I marked the increase. Then we had to work 20 double crochets with an increase, and I marked the increase. And then I said we had to do that 2 more times, which is 3 in total. So here we go. 20 and an increase, 20 and an increase. So that's how I know that I've done the right amount of increases, because I've got my first after 30 stitches, I've got my first after 20, second after 20, third after 20. Now you continue working 1 double crochet in each stitch until only 1 stitch remains. So the rest of this row you work 1 double crochet in each stitch as it presents until there's only 1 stitch left, And we know what to do with the last stitch. We work 2 double crochets in our last stitch. So continue and I will see you there. There you go. So now all that remains is the last stitch, and we do work 2 double crochets in the last stitch, and that is the end of row 21. And if you want to go ahead and count these stitches, it will be 126 stitches. Now we get to row 22, and we are going to repeat row 21. I'm going to start with a chain 1, turn my work, and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch. And now remember what I told you right at the beginning. Within the first 10 rows, I said that when it gets to these long rows, you can decide whether you are going to, because I used 4 stitch markers in this row. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the previous row. Row 21, which we are going to repeat now. And you can now either count out, that's just options, okay? You can do it any which way that suits you. But you have to now work 1 double crochet in each of the next 30 stitches. So you can count 30 stitches and then put a stitch marker where the stitch is where you should increase. Or you can just simply work and count and just mark when you have increased. I find that in this row that I have to do a lot, the entire row is just double crochets. I find it easier if I count exactly where I have to do my increases, put the stitch marker there, and then, especially if I'm watching a movie or whatever, I can just do the entire row of double crochets, and when I get to my marker, I do an increase, which means 2 double crochets in that stitch. So that is up to you. But row 22 looks exactly like row 21. So let us just, I've started making 2 double crochets. Now I'm going to count 30 stitches and put a marker in. So this is how I do it. Let me just quickly show you. I have counted up to there. That is stitch number 30. And in stitch 31, I put a marker because that's where I'm going to work 2 double crochets. Then I count 20 stitches. And in stitch 21, I put a marker because that's where I'm going to work my 2 double crochets, my increase. And I take this one out. This is just there because of the previous row. And I quickly count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And in that one, I put my marker. Take that marker out. And I count another 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So in 21, I put a stitch marker. So now I know that is where I must do my increases. And I'm simply going to start this row, not round, and work double crochets because I already now know where I must increase. So I can relax and just go ahead and do double crochets instead of counting that much. And I only use this when I get to the very long rows. So there it is. I've done my 30 stitches and I'm on stitch number 31, and all I'm going to do is take out my stitch marker and work my increase, which is, wait, this yarn tends to split. There you go. 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and I can insert the stitch marker again if I want to. There you go. And now I'm going to continue just doing my double crochets up to my next stitch marker as I've marked it. Okay, so there we go. This is the end of row 22. We've done our 30 increase, 20 increase once, 20 increase twice, 20 increase a third time. Then we continued working every double crochet until there was one left, and here is the one that's left, and we are simply going to work 2 double crochets into the last stitch as we always do. That is the end of row 22. If you want to go ahead and count that, that will be 132 stitches. So now we are going to continue to row 23. I am going to chain 1 and turn, and we start with row 23 by doing 2 double crochets in the first chain, in the first stitch. My apologies, in the first stitch we work 2 double crochets, and we are going to do chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and in the third stitch we are going to work a single crochet. Then we are going to do chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and in the third one we are going to work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. There we go. So we've done this before. You know how to repeat this pattern. You're going to chain 2, skip 2, work a single crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets in after you skip 2, and then you work until 5 stitches remain. What I forgot to say, and let me say this before I forget and go any further, I have now taken out the stitch markers, the 4 stitch markers that I used, because we don't need it in this row, because we're not counting. Well, we are doing a little different pattern. We're not doing only double crochets. We are doing a little pattern. So I've taken out the stitch markers, and you can also take out the stitch markers and then just repeat this pattern. So on row 23 we've done chain 2, skip 2 stitches, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and we've repeated that all the way until 5 stitches remain. So here is the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches that remain. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, we're going to skip 2, and we're going to single crochet. Then we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, but we're not going to skip 2, because there is no 2 to skip. There's only 1 to skip. And we're going straight into the last stitch, which is 2 double crochets in the last stitch. There you go. I'm just doing it slowly so that it's neat. And that is the end of row 23. If you wanted to count this, it's going to be 157 stitches in total. And I'll see you at row 24. Just a correction, I counted on my row 23 and I have 156 stitches. I thought it should be 157, but it's 156. Okay, so let's move on to row 24. I'm going to chain 1 and then I'm going to make 2 double crochets in the first stitch, like that. And I'm going to chain 4. This is where our pattern begins, as we've done it before. We chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we skip to our next 2 double crochets that we've made, yarn over, and we go right through those 2 double crochets and we work 3 double crochets, a cluster of 3 double crochets, or a grouping. There we go. Do not split, so I'm going slowly. 3 double crochets. So that is what our pattern looks like now. You've done this before. Chain 4 and jump to the next 2 double crochets, and between the 2 double crochets you go through and you work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And you continue repeating this until only 1 double crochet cluster remains. So just continue with your chain 4, jump to the next 2 double crochet cluster, insert your 3 double crochets between the 2 posts, chain 4, jump to the next 2 double crochet cluster, between your 2 double crochets, work your 3 double crochets and continue until only one of these 2 double crochet clusters remain. So we've been working this pattern, chain 4 and working your 3 double crochets between the 2 posts of the previous row's 2 double crochet cluster. Now there's only 1 2 double crochet cluster remaining, so we're going to do 4 chains, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're going to work 2 double crochets in the first stitch of those 2 double crochets. So we work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Then what remains is 1 stitch, our last stitch, and we always put 2 double crochets in that stitch, 1 and 2. So that is how row 24 ends. And if you want to go ahead and count this, it should be 157 stitches. I've counted at least twice. So now we go on to row 25. So we're going on to row 25. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and I'm going to work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, as we've done in this entire pattern. Work 2 double crochets in the first stitch. Now in this row I'm going to put aside my hook for a moment, and I am going to make use of my stitch markers again. These 4 stitch markers. I'm going to count 40 stitches, exactly 40 stitches, and then I'm going to put in a stitch marker. Then I'm going to count 30 stitches, put in a stitch marker, and I'm going to do that 2 more times. And then I'm going to just work my double crochets until I get to my stitch markers. So I'll see you then. So let's just show you what I've done. Work 1 double crochet in each of the next 40 stitches. So I have counted the stitches. I've started by making my 2 double crochets in the beginning of the row, as we always do. There. Then I've counted every stitch. I've counted 40 stitches. And on stitch number 41, I've put in a stitch marker, which means when I get to this stitch, I'm going to work an increase, 2 double crochets in this stitch. Then I counted 30 stitches. And on stitch 31, I inserted a marker, stitch marker, and on that stitch I will work 2 double crochets, which is an increase. Now I had to do that 2 more times. So here goes 1 more time. There's my marker. 2 more times. There's my marker. When I get there, I work my increase, and then I continue working 1 double crochet in every stitch that remains until there is only 1 stitch left, which is my last stitch. And when I get there, we all know what to do in the last stitch. We work 2 double crochets. So I see you at the end of this row 25. Row 25, we've worked 2 double crochets in the first chain. I've counted 40. I marked it, and when I got there after working 40 stitches, in stitch number 41, I did my increase, then work 30 double crochets, and in stitch number 31, I work an increase, and I have to do that 2 more times. So there you go, 30 stitches, and in 31, I work my increase once and twice. So that's 2 more times that I did that. And then from there on, every stitch as it presents itself, I work a double crochet up to 1 stitch that remains. And in the last stitch, as we know, I work 2 double crochets. So that is the end of row 25, and if you want to count that, it will be 163 stitches. 163. So now I am going to move on to row 26. So I'm on row 26, and I am going to chain 1 and turn my work. And as you can see, I've removed my 4 stitch markers because I don't need it in this row 26. I'm going to work 2 double crochets in the beginning of this row, 1 double crochet, and a second double crochet, and then our little pattern for this row is chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and in the next stitch a double crochet. Easy peasy. Chain 1, skip 1, in the next one work a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, in the next stitch work a double crochet. So there you go. You will end with a double crochet. So repeat this pattern until 2 stitches remain, and I will see you there. So we've repeated chain 1, skip 1 stitch, 1 double crochet until only 2 stitches remain. So now we are going to chain 1 and skip 1, and in the next stitch, our last stitch, we are going to work 2 double crochets like we always do in the last chain. We work 2 double crochets. This is the end of row 26. So if you wanted to count this row, it is going to be 165 stitches in total. And then I will see you for row 27. Now in row 27 we are going to repeat row 25. So just rewind and go on the timestamp to row 25 and repeat row 25. Use your stitch markers as we did in row 25, and then I will see you in row 28. At the end of row 27 you should have 171 stitches. I've completed row 27 and I move on to row 28. Remember, we have 171 stitches at the end of row 27. Row 28, we start like we always do with 2 double crochet in the first stitch. Now we are going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 70 stitches. So I'm going to use my stitch markers, my 4 stitch markers. I'm going to count out 70 double crochet, 70 stitches, instead of just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. I need 70, so I'm going to count another 65. And then when I get there, I'm going to mark the spot with a stitch marker. And then I'll see you there. So I have made a double crochet, 2 double crochets in the first stitch as we usually do. I have counted 70 stitches all along the way, 70, and I have marked it. So I've worked 70 stitches, and then I've put my stitch marker in, and I know that in this stitch I must work an increase, 2 double crochets. So I'm just getting rid of my 1 stitch marker, and I'm working my increase, which is 2 double crochets in this 1 stitch. And then for the remainder of this row, there is no more increases. You're just going to work every stitch, a double crochet in every stitch as you see them, as they present. And when you get to the last stitch, we work a double crochet as we normally end a row. I'm up to my last stitch of row 28, and I'm working 2 double crochets in the last stitch. And remember that the stitch count at the end of row 28 is 174 stitches. So there you go. I will see you at row 29. Now we're moving on to row 29, and I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work and start as per usual, 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then we are going to repeat row 11, and I will see you after you have repeated row 11. So we started with 2 double crochets, and we did our windows as we did in row 11, because this is row 29 and we have to repeat row 11. So we chain 2, skip 2, double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, double crochet, right up to the end. And this is what I have left. I have 2 stitches left, so I'm going to go ahead and chain 2, and then I am skipping 1 because I don't have 2 to skip, I only have 1, and I will make 2 double crochets in the last stitch. There we go. And the amount of stitches you should have in this row, if you want to count, is 177 stitches at the end of row 29. Now we start at row 30, and I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, work 2 double crochets in the first chain, and in this row I'm going to work a double crochet in every stitch as it presents itself right up to the end. So I'm at the end of row 30. I've worked 1 double crochet in every stitch as it presents itself, and I've come to the last stitch, and I'm going to work 2 double crochets in that stitch as we've been doing all along. 2 double crochets, and that is the end. Don't split on me. There we go. That is the end of row 30, and if you want to count these stitches, it should be 179. Now we're going to go on to row 31. We're on row 31, and I'm going to make 1 chain and turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch as we've been doing. There we go. Now we need to work 1 double crochet in the next 60 stitches. So what I'm going to do is work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets, and then I'm going to put aside my hook. I'm going to count another 55 stitches to get up to 60, and I'm going to mark it. And we have to repeat that once more, so I will count another 60 stitches and mark it with my stitch marker, and then I will work those double crochets, and I will see you once I've done that. So in row 31 I worked 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then in each of the next 60 stitches I worked a double crochet like that. When I got to 60, after working 60 stitches like that, stitch number 61, I work an increase, which is 2 double crochets, and I just marked it. Then I had to do that once more, so I worked another 60 stitches. 60 stitches up to my stitch marker, where I marked it in stitch number 61, and I made an increase, which is 2 double crochets in that stitch, and just moved the stitch marker up. And then from there on I just worked a double crochet in each stitch, not increasing anything, just working to the end of the row. And you know what we do when we get to the last stitch? We work 2 double crochets in the last stitch. So that's the end of row 31. If you want to count, that should be 183 stitches. So let's move on to row 32. We're moving on to row 32, and I am working a chain 1, turning my work, working 2 double crochets in the beginning of the row, like that, 1 and 2. And this is one of our little interesting rows where I'm going to chain 2 and skip 2 stitches, skip 1 and skip 2, and make a single crochet right there, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2, 1 and 2, and in the third one work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and you're going to continue doing that. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and 1, 2 is what we skip, and in the third one we make a single crochet, chain 2, skip 1, skip 2, and in the third one make 2 double crochets, which I refer to as the 2 double crochet cluster, because it's part of our little pattern. Continue like that till the end of the row, and I'll see you there. Okay, so we've worked our little pattern until the end, until 2 stitches remain. There we go. We've done our chain 2, skip 2, work a single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochets. 2 stitches remain. I am going to chain 2, and instead of, like I would have done here, skip 2, there is only 1 to skip. Then I go into the last stitch of the row, and you know what we do then is we work 2 double crochets. There we go. This is the end of row 32, and you should have a total of 216 stitches. Now I just want to mention something. Imagine you have now finished this and you're counting away. Let me put my hook one side for a moment. Now you're counting and counting, and way in the beginning of the row or middle of the row, you see that instead of putting 2 double crochets there, you've only put 1 double crochet. Are you going to frog everything or pull it out up to there and just to put in an extra double crochet? No. So the little trick that you can do is, because the next row that we do is going to be the row where we have the 3 double crochets that will go into that double crochet, the little V stitch that we have there, as I call it, the 2 double crochet cluster. So what you're going to do, if you don't have a 2 double crochets there, you have mistakenly just made 1. All you're going to do is you're going to, in the next row when you come around, you're going to work your 3 double crochets in the top of the 1 double crochet. So you don't have, it won't make a difference in the big scheme of things. So that's what I'm trying to say. This is just a little fudge trick. If you've somewhere in the row you've counted and you see that you've left out one of these double crochets, which can happen, it's happened to me. You've made 1 double crochet instead of a V, instead of 2. Leave it. In the next row, you're not going to work between the 2 double crochets. You're just going to work on top of it. Make your 3 double crochets, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'll see you at row 33. We are now starting row 33. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then I want you to go back and repeat row 15, and I will see you at the end of this row 33 after you've repeated row 15. There we go. This is the end of row 33. We have repeated row 15. And if you want to go and count this, you will have 220 stitches. So we're going to move on to row 34. So we continue with row 34, and I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and this row is quite easy because you are going to work 1 double crochet in every stitch until 1 stitch remains. So you're just going to work 1 double crochet in every stitch as you see it. And remember, when you get to the chain 4 section, you can just put 4 double crochets in that chain 4 section, or you can work through each stitch, each chain, doesn't matter. I'll see you at the end of this row. I just want to share another little fudge. If you, for instance, counted the previous row and you saw that one of these 4 chain spaces were indeed 3 chains and not 4 chains, which means that you made a little mistake. And now, are you going to pull it out just to add 1 chain? No. When you get to the next row where you will be putting 4 double crochets in your 4 chain space, and if you only have 3 chains, that's just to tell you how I do it if I have to fudge a little. If you have 3 chains instead of 4, all you're going to do is you work your 4 double crochets in that 3 chain space, and that will even out the number of stitches. You will catch up without making a difference to the pattern or the way that it looks, because to miss one chain in the entire row is not going to change your shawl. Obviously, you know, once it's more than 1 chain that you're missing, then it becomes a problem because that's actual decreases. But if you've missed 1 stitch, 1 chain, that's how you can fudge it. So here I am at the end of row 34. I've worked 1 double crochet in every stitch until 1 stitch remains. Well, as you can, well, it doesn't look like there's 1 stitch remaining. Let me show you. We know that in the last stitch there is 2 double crochets. I've done my 4 double crochets in my 4 chain space, and in the first double crochet I work a double crochet, and in my last double crochet I work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2 double crochets, and that is the end of this row 34. And if you want to count it, it will be 222 stitches. Then we are going to continue to row 35. Row 35, so I'm going to chain 1, turn my work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, as we always do, and then it says repeat row 17. So please go and replay or re-watch row 17, and I will meet you at the end of this row 35. So we come to the end of row 35, which is a repeat of row 17, where we've worked our double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. And at the end of this row, if you want to count, you should have 224 stitches. So then we will continue to row 36. So this is row 36. I'm going to go ahead and chain 1, turn my work, and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and work 5 double crochets, 1 in each stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. As you know, in that 1 chain space, you can just go right around that 1 chain space. So that's 5 double crochets I've worked. I need to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 70 stitches, 70. So I'm going to go ahead and count another 65 stitches, put my stitch marker in, and it says repeat once more. I'm going to count another 70, put a stitch marker in for my increased stitch, and then I will see you there. So I've continued to count after working 2 double crochets in the first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets I worked, and I needed to work 70 double crochets and then an increase. So I continued to count out up to 70 all the way along, and here I am. I've done 70 stitches, and this is stitch number 71 that's marked here. So what I'm going to do is take out this stitch marker, just put it to the side for the moment. I'm going to work my my increase, which is 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and I'm just going to replace this stitch marker so that my increase is marked. That's where I did my increase, 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Now I have counted, because we need to repeat this once more, I have counted out 70 stitches, and on stitch number 71 I've placed a stitch marker. So when I get there, I will do the same. I will work a double crochet in each stitch, and on stitch number 71 I will work 2 double crochets in this stitch, and then the rest of this row I will simply continue and work 1 double crochet on the top of each stitch here until 1 stitch remains, and then we work 2 double crochets in the last stitch, as we always do. So I'll see you at the end of this row. So this is where we left off. I made my increase after 70 stitches, 70 double crochets. Then I counted another 70 double crochets, which I've now worked, came up to my stitch marker, and I did my increase there, 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then I continued and simply worked a double crochet in every stitch that remained until we got to the last stitch. And I am doing 2 double crochets in my last stitch, like that. And that is the end of row 36. If you want to count the stitches, it should be 228. And then I see you in row 37. So we are starting with row 37, and I'm going to chain 1 and then turn my work 2 double crochets in the first stitch like we always do, and then please repeat row 36, the previous row. Just rewind and please rewatch and do exactly what we did with row 36 in row 37, and I will meet you at the end of row 37. So this is the end of row 37. We've repeated row 36, and as you can see, my color is changing, which is great. If you want to count the end of row 37's stitches, it should be 232. So now we're going to continue to row 38, which is the start of the last repetition, pattern repetition. I am going to chain 1 as we start row 38, and I'm going to turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the start of this row, as we always do, and then look at the pattern, and the pattern says please repeat row 11. So go ahead and re-watch row 11, and I will meet you at the end of what is our row 38. So just repeat row 11, and then we meet at the end of this row 38. This is at the end of row 38. We've repeated row 11, and if you want to count the stitches, it should be 234 stitches in total, and then we continue to row 39. So we're starting row 39, and row 39 says I'm going to work my 1 chain and then turn. I'm going to work my 2 double crochets in the very first stitch, which I should find there. It's 1 and 2, and then the pattern says to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 70 stitches. So I've gone ahead and counted 70 stitches, and when I got to stitch number 71, I put my marker in, and I know I must work an increase in that stitch. And the pattern says repeat twice more. So I've got to count another 70 stitches. See, now we have a lot of stitches to deal with, and put in a marker. So there is a marker in stitch number 71 to say that's where I must work an increase 2 double crochets in that chain stitch. And then for the last time I must do it again, count 70 stitches, count my 70 stitches, and in stitch number 71 I put a marker, and in that stitch I will work 2 double crochets, which is my increase stitch, and then for the rest I continue to work 1 double crochet in the remaining stitches until 1 stitch remains, and in my last stitch I'm going to work a double crochet. So let's get to work and do that. So now that I've gone and counted it out, all I need to do is to start making double crochets, and only where I have put a stitch marker do I work 2 double crochets. The rest of the entire long row is just double crochets. So if you've got some music, you can put it on, listen to it. If you're listening to a live stream, listen to it, because there's no thinking in this row. You've done your counting. You're just going to work every stitch a double crochet. So I will meet you at the end of this row. Just to recap, with row 39 we did 2 double crochets in the first stitch like we normally do, and then I counted 70 stitches and did a double crochet in each of those 70 stitches up to stitch 70. In stitch number 71 I did an increase, which is 2 double crochets, and the pattern said that repeat that twice more. So I counted another 70 and did a double crochet in each, and when it was stitch number 71 I did my increase, which is the 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and there we go, we did it one more time, a double crochet in each stitch, and in stitch number 71 I do 2 double crochets. Then I continue up to the last stitch, and you know what we do in the last stitch? We work 2 double crochets. So that's what I did, and at the end of this row 39, I should have 239 stitches in total. So just check that you do have 239. Then we are ready to go on to row 40. So I'm ready to start row 40, and I'm going to make a chain 1, turn my work, work 2 double crochets in the first chain space as we use, not chain space, in the first stitch as we normally do. And then you are going to repeat row 39. In row 40, you are going to repeat the previous row, which was row 39. And then at the end of row 39, you should have, my apologies, at the end of row 40, after repeating row 39, you should have 244 stitches. And then we move on to row 41. I've come to the end of row 40. I've repeated row 39 because that's row 39 and 40. Row 40 we had to just repeat row 39. So if you want to count your stitches at the end of row 40, it should be 244 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and take my stitch markers out of this row where I had them in, where I did my increases, and get ready for row 41. I'll see you at row 41. So we're going ahead with row 41. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch. 1 and 2. Then I'm going to do the little pattern, which is chain 2, skip 2, work a single crochet in the next stitch, chain 2, 1 and 2, and skip 2, 1 and 2, and in the third stitch work 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And that's it. Continue doing that. Chain 2, skip 2, and a single crochet in the next stitch, focus, there we go, and then chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and you're just going to continue doing that until 2 stitches remain. So you're going to go chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochets in the same stitch until 2 stitches remain of this row. So I'm coming to the end of row 41. I've repeated our little pattern of chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochets in the same stitch. I call that a 2 double crochet cluster. 3 stitches remain. I will chain 2, chain 2, skip 2, and in the last stitch make a double crochet. Make 2 double crochets. Wait, and my yarn has split. Don't split on me. Okay, there we go. Chain 2, skip 2. In the last stitch make 2 double crochets. 1 double crochet and a second double crochet. There we go. That is the end of row 41. If you want to count the stitches, it's going to be 286 stitches. And then we are going over to row 42. We are nearly there. Look at how much yarn I've got left. Very little. Okay. So now we're going to do row 42. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and start with 2 double crochets in the first stitch, as we usually do. And my yarn has split. Why? Do not. One double crochet and a second double crochet. And then the pattern says that we should repeat row 15. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to repeat row 15. And at the end of row 15, I should have 290 stitches in total. So do that and I meet you at row 43. Okay, so we're going on to row 43 and I am going to chain 1 at the end of my row that we've done here. Chain 1, turn my work and crochet 2 double crochets in the first stitch and hope that my yarn does not split. There we go. One double crochet and a second double crochet. And now the pattern says in row 43, please repeat row 39. And at the end of row 39, I should have 295 stitches in total. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat row 39 here. And then I will see you at the next row, which is row 44. So I am at the end of row 43. I have repeated row 39 and I have 295 stitches in total. And now we're going over to row 44 and we are nearly there. So I'm starting row 44 and I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2, and then chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and in the next stitch a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, in the next stitch a double crochet. That is our pattern for this row, and you repeat the pattern until 2 stitches remain, and then we meet again. I've continued our little pattern until 2 stitches remain. I'm going to chain 1 and then I'm going to skip 1 and in the last stitch work 2 double crochets like we have been doing. And that is the end. Wait. That is the end if it will not split. That is the end of row 44. And you should have 297 stitches in total. And then we're going to move on to row 45. So now we're going to move on to row 45, and I am going to chain 1, chain 1, turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the same first stitch. Then I am going to use the same method I did before, because the pattern says work 1 double crochet in each of the next 80 stitches, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch, which is an increase, and that I should do that 2 more times, so a total of 3 times. So I'm going to put my hook aside and I'm going to count 80 stitches, put a stitch marker in 3 times, so that I know where I should do my 3 increases, and then I will come back here and start doing my double crochets. So I have counted 80 stitches and I have inserted my stitch marker on stitch 81, so that I will know to work my increase there, my 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And the pattern says after I've worked my 80 stitches and made my increase, 2 double crochets in that stitch, I should repeat that twice more. So I've gone ahead, and now we have a lot of stitches. I've gone and done this again, so that's the first time of the twice more, and then I've gone and done it one more time, counted 80 stitches, and on stitch number 81 inserted a mark. There I will work my increase. So now I know where to work my increases, so I can just pick up the hook and work double crochets in each stitch, and where I see my marker I will work an increase, 2 double crochets in that stitch, and then when I get to the end, the last stitch, I will work 2 double crochets in the last stitch like we normally do. And at the end of this row I should have 302 stitches. So let's get going. So I'm at the end of row 45 and I have done my 3 increases. I will remove my stitch markers because there it is after every 80 stitches. I've worked my increase, 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and at the end of row 45 you should have 302 stitches, and then we go on to row 46. I just want to say that as normal I did my double crochets, and then of course in the last stitch we worked 2 double crochets. So there we go. Now we're going to chain 1 and go on to row 46. I will turn my work and work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then it says repeat row 45, and at the end of row 45 I should have 307 stitches. So you can just watch again at row 45 and repeat that, and then we see each other again at the end of row 46 here. I'm on the last 2 stitches of row 46, and obviously remember row 46 was a repetition of row 45. And that is the end of the shawl, but now we need to start with the border, which is the bobbles. Wait, let me just do not get entangled. There we go. So I've done my increases, and I'm going to take off my increase stitch once, twice, 3 times. In this last row did we increase, and you should have a total of 307 stitches. And then we are going to start with the bobbles, and this is how much yarn we've got left. Very little, but enough for a row of bobbles. This is what we're going to do now, is these bobbles. So let's start. Now on the last row, which is row 47, which is the border, we are going to make bobbles and this beautiful border. So we are not going to do the normal chain 1, 2 double crochets in the first stitch. We are going to start off with forming a bobble. And how do we do that? We're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chains. Then you're going to count the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is right in the middle. You're going to make 7 double crochets, but omitting the last step. So let's do that. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you would have normally made another yarn over and pull through 2 to complete it, but you're not going to. So you're omitting the last step. So that's your first double crochet. Now we need to make another 6. So through the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 and leave it. Yarn over through that same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And we have 4 stitches on the hook. Yarn over through the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over through the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you've made 3, 4, 5 already. Yarn over, through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over, through that same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. You can see the stitch is stretching. That doesn't matter. Let's just count. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches on the hook. Now we are going to yarn over and pull through all of them tight so that this will fold over on itself and make it tight. And you're going to go through that first stitch where everything started, go through and make a slip stitch. Go through, yarn over, pull through and tight, make it tight and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to skip the first one, the second one, and in the third one you're going to make a single crochet. Now let's look at what we've made. You see what we've made? There's your first bobble. It's folded over, and so it's folded closed and then again over on itself. Let's make a second one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chains, and 1, 2, 3, the fourth chain. We make 7 double crochets 3/4 of the way. So pull through 2, and that's 1. Yarn over through that chain, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 2. Yarn over through that chain, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, 3. Yarn over through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 4. Yarn over, there we go. 5. 6. And 7. 7 double crochets, omitting the last step with my first chain that was on the hook. That's 8 stitches on the hook. Yarn over, pull through all of them like that, and let it fold over, pull through tight. And now we are going to make a slip stitch in that stitch where we started. You're just going to go through there. You can go, I wanted to go through there like that. Pull through and pull through. Pull it tight and chain 3. 1, 2, 3 chains. And then come back to your work and count 1, 2. So you skip, skip, and in the third one we make a single crochet. So there is your first 2 bobbles. Loving it already. So just continue doing this. Chain 7, come back, make your bobble, chain 3, skip, skip, in the third one make a single crochet, make next bobble. I'll see you at the end of this row. So there we are at the end of this. All these bobbles have been made. 1 stitch remains, which is the last stitch, but instead of just letting that go, I'm going to make another bobble and then a single crochet in the very last stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hey, 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 and 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
7, and then yarn over and pull through every stitch. Let it fold over on itself and make a slip stitch at the bottom of that bobble. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in that very last stitch where we used to do our 2 double crochets, I am making a single crochet. Just pull it, tighten it a little bit, and a single crochet. And that is the end. Yarn over and pull through. That is the end of this shawl. So now I'm going to work in this end, and that is it. There we go. All our bobbles is in place like it should be. That end should just be worked in. And I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did. And if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to leave a comment, I would really appreciate that. And I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.